Hi, so recently Hens on their Professor Hens channel released a video covering and reacting to a Japanese player's killer tier list. Now, Japanese players and Western players have always had a little bit of a difference on view on meta and what perks we use, how we play the game, and how we even see a lot of killers. Out of the entire tier list, there was one killer in particular I thought was kind of interesting. That guy. Over here in the West, even after the changes of bringing him down to a 14-second cooldown and a much slower dash speed, we typically over here put him somewhere in B tier. You'll see a few outliers of C tier or possibly even A tier. However, in Japan, they've always thought Chucky was way lower than that, even before the nerfs. So I thought it'd be fun to go on stream and review some of the matches from Japanese Chucky mains and just see what the difference in playstyle was. So yeah, hope you enjoy. They put Chucky really low. I think, in fact, 2 of the 3 videos we may look at today put Chucky as low as the bottom killer, under Skull Merchant. My personal opinion is Chucky is about B. It really depends. I kind of view them as a pub stomper. They do really good against like solo queue survivors that really don't know much better. But against a really strong team, they can be quite punishing. So I want to see how they play. Maybe there's something going on. Let's look at the perks. Okay, so we got Dead Man Switch, which is not bad. The reason I don't like it is like you can't forcibly use it all the time. Since Chucky has really bad mobility, if there's a gen far away, you can't get there fast enough sometimes to get people off of it, unless you have something like Pain Res, which they do. They have Fearmonger, which I do really like on Chucky. It definitely helps you with some of the perks he has problems with, like Decisive Strike. Yeah, Sprint Burst, stuff like that. Sprint Burst is really backbreaking against Chucky too, especially when you pre-run. That makes sense. Nowhere to Hide is a really weird pick here. There's no other gen kick perks, and with Pain Res, there may be a situation where they actually can't kick a gen they want to, especially and with or Dead Man Switch. So I'm a little interested in why they have. Yeah, and they're on controller. Good point. Good point. Nowhere to Hide. That seems like a really bad pick. It's not one of my favorites. Chucky's really good in chase and pretty much nowhere else. So this is a really interesting pick. And before we get started, I want everybody to be respectful. We might see stuff we don't agree with. There might be bad plays here and there. We all have those. Let's just they value respect there. So I'd like to extend that ourselves too. But they have Straight Razor and Drill. Solid. I'd say Straight Razor, if we had the old cooldown, is probably the best one. With the new cooldown, Drill does feel a little mandatory sometimes. But yeah, let's see how they do. Don't know what they're saying, and there's not really any subtitles, so we're just gonna have to like go based off of what they're doing. All right, pretty typical. So what you can do if you ever want to watch a video like this is you can go to the bottom of the video and it'll say show transcript, and when you do that you can just right click it and then translate, and you can actually watch alongside the right of the video, and the whole transcript will get translated for you while you watch. Completely free. You don't need to download anything. Okay, good. This is pretty average. People used to go on the other side, but pretty easy to hit them on that side with Chucky, so they'll fake the other side now. He procs to nowhere to hide, but he doesn't seem to get value. This is what I'm saying, like, it almost feels like Barbecue would almost do better here, and I don't even really love that. He seems really sure somebody's here, and I'm not sure why. Maybe he heard something we didn't. They didn't run very fast. He got pretty relatively... Ooh. Maybe it's because of the changes, but I think he meant a scamper there. And I bet that's what this is going to be, is he's going to show... What is this? This is RPD. I bet you he's going to show... So Wesker and Chucky have this tech where if a pallet drops, Chucky can't vault it immediately, neither can Wesker, and they'll slide off to the side of it, and you can zip it back in. I call it a pallet slide. Yeah, so you can see right here in the top left, he's about to charge right at the survivor, about to drop pallet, and they'll hit right as the pallet drops. They'll use that momentum because they'll keep it, slide all the way to the right, and then zip back in. Boom, right there. It's actually a really useful trick in a lot of different spots. And here they're using pallet. Yeah, it's a pallet 50-50. So they're probably just talking about how that's a little different in what they were going for. Okay, that is interesting. So right here, when they go through the wall, they have this long side and this short side. Typically what you can do is once you vault as Chucky is you can pan your camera all the way down isometrically. And slide, and if they go this long side, you have enough time to hit them. This is an unsafe side. So what you typically do as survivors, you go the short side and get around the corner because they can't turn once. Because once they vault, they're facing forward and they can only go left or right. They can't turn again. So the Lori This survivor doesn't know that, it seems, and this Chucky doesn't seem to take advantage. Instead, they just vault straight out, so maybe chuck sliding is not part of their repertoire. So the survivors aren't going short, they're going long, so they do make mistakes with the looping here, but the Chucky doesn't seem to take advantage. Oh wait, I think it's after this. It's after this. Yeah. And he would be able to hit there, especially with running shoes. I think he could have gotten that if he flicked correctly. I'm actually curious if we'll see any of those chuck slides in these videos. He drops that chase. He saw the blood. I don't think he noticed it. The blood was going the same way as David, so I think David kind of ran the same direction as whoever. There's that nowhere to hide value. But he wasted a lot of time looking. So he saw the David kind of like walk this way. He didn't commit to David right away. He then looked around, then kicked the gen, and then decided to commit when he could have probably just committed at that point instead of wasting the time looking and kicking the gen. That's something like as Chucky you don't want to do. You can't, since you have no 4v1, you can't really waste those seconds. They're not really there for you. Oh, that's interesting too. So this is kind of a weird use of the camera. It doesn't look like they're actually taking full advantage. Like, so what you can do is typically you'll have Chucky pointed 45 degrees opposite of where you're looking. So you'll have him pointed kind of this way, in this direction instead of forward. And you can see down there, but they don't seem to take full effect of that. It looks like they're almost just listening, like using their audio. Is it hard on controller? Oh, that is true. They are on controller. It is harder on controller. It's not impossible, but it is harder. That is true. That's a good point. Thank you, Weaven. I didn't think about that. Yeah. They're on controller. The chuck slide is a bit harder. Interesting. Okay. But they get the hit. I'm still surprised, like, even if he sat there, which is like not a bad position to be in. Because so if the David dropped the pallet, he could have scampered under and pretty much guaranteed the hit. So it wasn't a bad spot, but I'm surprised he didn't at least just like pan the camera a little bit more to see down. I'm kind of interested to see what the prestige of this Chucky is once we get through this. Like right there, we kind of see it, but see if you point Chucky directly forward, like he was just doing at the wall, the red stain will actually still poke out. That's why you gotta like kind of stand at this weird 45-degree angle. So maybe that's not something they... I don't know. He gets the hit anyways. Dead hard. Yeah. Every Chucky has been there. Painful. Yeah. Okay, so this survivor in particular seems to be making a lot of mistakes against Chucky, so they might just not know very well. They seem a little hesitant. Yeah, that's true. Actually, I would say controller is better for survivor than mouse and keyboard. Not killer. Ooh, that was really nice. Really clean on that lorry, actually. So like even this lorry, right, doesn't seem like they know what to do against Chucky, right? They didn't drop early. You need to drop pallets early because the hitbox is in front of Chucky, not Chucky's body. They went the long side on the loop, so they don't know, but they still are able to dodge the dash. I wonder if that's going to be something we see a lot. He gets this guy. So the David never healed. That's interesting. I've always heard they have like a really strong self-care meta, so I'm kind of interested to see the perks after this. What we should have been doing is keeping track if he was tunneling. He had already hooked the lorry, so maybe he's trying to get the pain res off the Claude. But it is weird that with being down to 2 gens, he's not committing to the tunnel, because we always hear that they have a very tunnel-focused meta. Seems like he should have gone for Lari there. Yeah, I'm kind of interested. This is interesting. Takes the M2, or they're unsure about it, so then go for it. A lot of hit and run. That's something that a lot of Chuckies in America don't do too much. We do run Razor, and it is nice, but often it's seen as a bad strategy because you're spending a lot of time like trying to find the next survivor, and you're going back and forth, and then usually they get their dead hards back or their exhaustion perks. So usually hit and run's not a great strategy on Chucky, so I'm kind of interesting to see it kind of be focused on here. Good hit. He's in a rough spot. This can be a really rough map because, like, if they're not pushing center, you're pushed to, like, play all the outer rim of the map in this big circle, and that's really not ideal for such a slow movement, slow mobility killer. So maps like these can kind of be difficult sometimes. Not to mention Corn can be hard to see through on regular killers, let alone short ones. Yeah, he gets the 50-50. Yeah, souls. I like that. I think I like their idea on it. Yes, we all been there. He sounds just as annoyed as I get. Okay, this will be interesting. No, she turned the right way. But he went for it. Those are pretty ballsy play, actually. He could have, like, committed it. They hide right there in front of him. Interesting. I can't see the hook states, but I think he's at, like, 5. This will be 6. Did they? That's interesting. So they banned hug text, huh? I wonder if they ban Chucky's slide check tech then, if they don't really use it. I haven't seen it yet. That'd be really interesting. It'd be really eye-opening to see what the perks were here. Oh, he doesn't push whoever that is out. He goes back to hook right away. Yeah, I think what hurt them here was a large hit and run issue. Yeah, that was poorly. Like, that was just bad timing. That was just unlucky. Interesting. They don't use exploits, so we might not see a Chucky slide. If that's the case, yeah, I could see it being a lot worse. Never has the traversal to do the slugging because they can just recover. That's why Wraith is so good, is because like you just can't recover fast enough. Same with twins. Oh wait, did they cut it off right before we saw the perks? Oh no, come on, come on. They did. No, we'll never know. We'll never know. No, chat. We'll never know. You end card. Okay. He didn't scamper much? No, but if they don't use Chuck Slide, I could see them not using a scamper very often, you know? Like I could easily see that. That would not be all that surprising to me. Because that's like what makes it so useful. Zanshin? Oh, did we see it? One sec. We'll go forward just enough to see the perks. Deadman Switch again. Fearmonger again. Pain Res and Zanshin. I think Zanshin's a way better option. One thing I've learned about the Japanese meta is that they don't juggle builds or have unique builds. They stick to like 1 or 2 core builds, like the best ones. They optimize. And I'm kind of seeing that here. We have 3 of the same perks, but Zanshin is way better than Nowhere to Hide. Doesn't require the same effort. It's going to happen naturally. Chucky doesn't need to go out of their way. It's going to happen in chase when they want it to happen. So I like this build a little bit better. Dead Dog it seems like a very killer sided map, and Chucky can actually play main very well, but it has some pain points for sure. Survivors have a lot of ways to avoid him. I'd say right side. So the right side of the map with the little town is a little hard for Chucky. But yeah, not horrible. So let's see. Hopefully this time we get to see the survivors perks afterwards. That'd be kind of nice. I'm surprised you know them as much. Okay, pretty typical hit. Ironically, the Chris could have avoided that pretty easily. I don't know if it's the same as a J flick. I don't know Blight's terms, but possible. It's not really a flick per se. This one seems like he's definitely focusing. He had another survivor, but he's not going to go for the hit and run, which I think is a better idea. I wonder if this turns out better for him. He went outside. Usually you want to like not go around as much as possible. You want to like cut through, but you know, little things. I'm not trying to criticize, just openly thinking. I might have to learn your blight. More blight stuff might help with Chucky. Better explaining it to other people. I can't believe that didn't hit him. I can't believe that hit the Fang and not him. That's crazy. Okay, so we definitely like traded at hook. That's interesting. Went back. We opened the door too. So another thing you typically want to do with Chucky is, what website is this? This is YouTube. This is just a YouTube video. I can link you the YouTube so you can watch them. I'll link them once we're all done. And then this will be a YouTube video too. This will go up sometime this week. So typically as Chucky, your movement is really restricted. Once you start your dash, you're really stuck going in a straight line and making a left or right turn 90 degrees, right? Like kind of like a knight in chess, very similar. So if your opponent has a lot of options for movement, it really hamstrings you in what you can do. But if they have more restricted movement like you, it really ups your chances of hitting them because they can't get around your 90-degree turn as easily. So stuff like that door is like, it is beneficial to open sometimes, but it actually gives survivors an easier way to avoid your dash if you ever scamper inside or outside of it. So usually you want to leave a lot of doors closed that you normally wouldn't on other killers because it helps restrict their movement. So it's interesting to see that they kind of opened it. I want to see if they break pallets. That's the other thing I'm kind of curious about. Often Chucky like benefits from pallets being down because he can turn them into 50-50s or use them to maximize their distance. So I'm curious if we'll see that here too. See, like that, they turned that pallet into a 50-50. He was trying to play Chucky like Wraith, yeah, which is a horrible idea in a lot of situations. Unless you go for like Numi did a really good job of it in a scrim not too long ago. He doesn't commit to that chase. He stays by the hook, which is like not a bad idea. You don't want to spread out too thin on Chuck, so that makes sense to me. Oh, the Chinese. Okay, thank you for the clarification. That helps a lot, actually. I mean, he's got good pressure. Oh, damn. Been there before. Not a bad target. He's already gotten Chris once. You can easily turn that into a 50-50. Should be a guaranteed hit. But he doesn't commit. That's really interesting. He goes back for the unhook. He can't, unless she like lets him. He really shouldn't have too much of an easy Chucky things. Chucky M1 things. I think any Chucky player's been there. Like if she's got decisive strike, this seems like a more scary play. Or if she had off the record. Yep. Any number of endurance to eat through instead of just committing on the down on Chris seems interesting. Again, we're splitting pressure again. Oh, interesting. I'll have to check that out. I think I've heard of it before. I've just not really had any interaction with it. Is he expecting the head-on? Do they deal with head-on bully teams there too? We're watching Japanese Chucky mains because over there they think Chucky is the worst killer in the game, more or less. Some put him a little higher, but some put him at the very bottom of the tier list. So I'm just trying to see why they view him differently. Nice. Oh, she bled out. Interessante. See there? Right there. He just saw the Chris, right? Chris is already on one hook. I don't think he's got a hook on one of these girls, if I'm not mistaken. I would have kept them on the floor, slugged, and gone for the Chris. Then the injured Ada is going to have to get off a gen. Nobody's on gens. They might spend time healing. See, I was always told that they like to tunnel, not split pressure. So I've been told a lot of different things, but it does seem like they like to split the pressure, which is not normally a bad idea. It's just Chucky just lacks the mobility. Really benefit from it. But this is a good spot. He's got two hooks really close together, so this is not bad. I'm assuming the Chris is off with the Ada healing. In C tier? Yeah. I don't think they get very long, like very good snipes with Artist. I agree Wesker's not as good as some people think, especially now. I'd put Wesker at like mid to low B, possibly. Especially if they don't use hug text. I'd assume they don't use hug text, in which case he goes, yeah, I kind of understand where they're coming from. Interesting. Well, Gem's about 90. She probably couldn't hear the chalk all over it. Twins is... I would put Twins high. I put Twins high too. I don't know if number 3, but I'd say like 4 or 5 easily. Ooh, that was risky. He could have... If he just was patient, I think he could have guaranteed that hit. And he does break the pallet. Wow. He breaks this pallet. This is such an unsafe pallet. I would have, and like, I'm not saying I know all, right? Like, I'm not saying I know best. I'm just comparing to like American play styles and what like I would do as a person who's played this character for 1,500 hours or more. Chris obviously made distance, but we could probably still secure that down pretty easily. But instead we broke the pallet, and this is a pretty playable pallet. Interesting. Oh, are you talking about the ones Hens did? Yeah, I've looked at that one. I was going based off of, they have a website kind of like we do. For like our wiki, they have a similar thing, and they have a tier list that they generate like every few months, from what I understand, and it's a bunch of users, so it's kind of like Nightlight in that sense, where it's a lot of user submitted stuff, and they make a tier list based off of that. I can show you after that if I can find it. Yeah, it's actually really cool. They do it regularly too. And they at one point, like, I'll share it. I have it on my Twitter. I think it's really cool how they do it. Because here in the West, we tend to really value 1v1. But over there, they consider a lot of stuff like perk synergy, the ability to, like, you know, split pressure tunnel, 4v1, stuff like that. It seems a lot more wide, and it's not just about the 1v1 so much as it is here. And I actually kind of agree with that being a better way to look at it. More holistic, it seems. But I could be mistaken, too. But even on there, I think Chucky is 3rd or 4th worst, or was last time they did it. And Xena was also down there pretty low, along with Skull Merchant. The exploits, maybe not so much. I think that's where a lot of the game is kind of fun. But I understand their thought process on it. It's just hard because DBD is a game where, like, even looping wasn't intended. That was an exploit. This game is, like, literally born of them. That was a good mind game. They really don't scamper a lot, I've noticed. So, like, here, right? Again, we're not criticizing, just comparing, right? So what, like, I would do in this scenario, if we'll get a little further, because a lot of different stuff could go on here. And he has information I probably don't, right? Like play styles. But here he can fake going after her down this way before he fakes going. So he'll fake going this way, I think, trying to get her to vault. But if he's going this way, I don't think she'll vault. Or maybe he got stuck. I don't know. But what I would typically do is I would slide as they go around this corner. I would slide, making them think I'm going to go around this corner as well. And I would scamper through the window because by the time they hit the door and notice, I can get the hit. So I would fake going this way. As soon as they got around the corner, I would moon slide back a little bit, go through the window, and then get the hit. Because you just here, since he wastes so much of the distance right here, he no longer has it to get around the corner. Which he actually could have just straight done it. Actually, he might have been able to do it. But see, again, that's the door, right? Like, see how much faster she turned in? If that door was closed, he would have had so much more time to catch her. But since that door's open, she can flick in and get around his 90-degree turn angle that much faster. See? But otherwise, she would have been stuck here. So if he had, like, not wasted his time on that side, he could have actually very easily secured a hit here. That's why you don't always want to break doors. No, that's really cool. That's. I mean, you're broadening your horizons, and you have a view on the game that a lot of people don't have. That's really nice. That's a good thing. He really, yeah. I mean, everybody's on Death Hook, so it's working. They're playing a really clean game. Everything we're pointing out is like just nitpicks and minor differences, and like, nice. Looks like this match might be good. I don't really know what the other three are doing. The Nia is still injured and has been for a minute. I would have expected Gens to be done. At least one more at this point. I wonder if they slug this and go for the Ada here. Well, no, because, I mean, Death Hook, I wouldn't either. You think he gives one of them hatch? You think they do that over there? I don't really think I've paid attention to if they do that. Yeah, this seems like a pretty cinched game here for the most part. There we go. Man, it's nice enough to see them just hiding in lockers for the next 40 minutes in the 2v1. Oh, we break the door too. Interesting. I mean, he's not in a rush. Might as well. I guess we'll find out. It'd be kind of funny if they had little camaraderie like that. Like, I kind of wonder how they feel about, you know, tunneling, slugging, BMing. I imagine they don't BM very often. I've not seen any of it. I'd very much wager that they probably don't engage in that at all, but we are slugging for the 4K though. Look at that. Nope, we're giving up on the slug for the 4K. Yeah, I think Zanshin here is a way better option than Nowhere. And plus you get the option of like seeing where down pallets are or windows that you might be able to use to further your scamper ahead of time. Zanshin a way better pick here than Nowhere, I think. Yeah, I think they just kind of, they didn't even seem like they were looking for the hatch. Looks like they did just kind of let him go. Okay, so Exponential, Shadow Step, Dark Sense or Kindred, I can't really tell. All the eye ones look the same. Shoulder the Burden, Sprint Burst, Self-Care, Botany Knowledge, the thing we always hear they have. We have it here too, Bardic. I'm assuming that's Botany Knowledge, Self-Care, Bardic. Yeah, so we definitely true, right? Like we see that on two different killers. He is a P10. He is a P10, so a little bit newer to Chucky than maybe some that I'm comparing them to. Dead Hard, Decisive Strike. Yeah, these look like, besides the Self-Care, Botany Knowledge, a lot of this looks pretty similar. It is interesting to see Exponential without like a Sabo squad or something. So I wonder if this is like a solo queue team. They didn't bring any items. That is interesting. Like I'm very surprised at the lack of items and offerings. I feel like the last time I had a game without items and offerings was a really long time ago. Yeah, literally just one med kit. That's really interesting to me. I never see that. And one is a P100, so you'd imagine they have stuff. I wonder what the deal is there. These are literally like the only 3 in recent time, by the way. It's not like I'm just cherry picking. These are probably amongst the only ones I could find in recent time. And I think the newest one is like 3 weeks old.